Parenting. Ugh. Sourdough watch. Ugh. And listener feedback. All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations. Do.
I am so excited.
And you just can't hide it?
Oh, I guess that's the truth.
So you were Zooming. Oh, yesterday was your spouse's birthday. Is that the reason that you had a Zoom call?
No, hell fuck no. No. We didn't Zoom we talk to people on the phone. We live far away from all peoples. And the typical scenario is that you get a phone call and they say, blah, blah, blah. And those happened. Why should we change? That works great. And they were lovely calls from hither and yon. It was fantastic. No, I was mentioning prior to getting on air that we have become, we are now capable of a three-way. So,
ooh.
Yeah, it's a three-way Zoom. It's not that exciting. So we had 3 simultaneous Zooms occurring on 3 completely different computers, but all with the same scheduled time. And I was actually supposed to be in 2 of the 3, so I was sort of walking from room to room, and it was a little tricky, but we made it happen.
From 3 aspects of your family, of your life?
We
like,
had
what do you mean?
had meet university coaches for those interested in sailing in university, and that was for the middle child, the the sophomore. I was going to say the soon to be rising junior, but we don't need to jump the gun. Anyway, so there was that college roundup, which would have made more sense for me to be in than the junior, because he, I'm sure, sat there and went, turned off the camera and the volume and went back to playing video games. In any event,
and played on his phone. Right.
I mean, it's not every day you get to meet a coach at Michigan, but anyway. So that was happening at the same time that the organizers meeting for one of the many lacrosse groups that we're in. My husband's very involved in that kind of stuff, and he's having to do. It's hard to even call it volunteer. He does a whole lot, and he was getting trained on a new system they're using. So that was, hey, let's talk about how we're going to do this and what we're going to need to blah, blah, blah. So he was at that, and I magically ended up having a women's group meeting happen at the same time. I thought that they had stopped, and I was kind of happy that I thought they had stopped. We do something called a giving circle, which, are you familiar with this?
Yeah, you've talked about it here
Great.
before.
So I thought that had
Love
it all gone away when you can't meet in person. They sort of went away because it was like, yeah, we're not going to ask people to do this when we're just trying to stay alive. Come to find out, they've figured out, you know what? We miss the opportunity to get together, and nonprofits are hurting. It's only for nonprofits, the donations. Nonprofits are hurting just as much, perhaps more than everybody else. So we're going to do come as you are, give what you can. So we've changed the format completely. It used to be we all gather, we hear 3 presentations picked at random from blah, blah, lots of rules. And then when the decision, we all vote and simultaneously donate to that one group. And there's, it ends up being everybody had the minimum donation used to be $100 for each person. So it would be, you'd get 10 grand going to a nonprofit, has to be locally focused. I mean, it was a great, great thing. Now it's come as you are, give what you can. We're not voting. The 3 are going to be picked at random. And then at the end of the thing, everybody's donate button for all 3 is going to be up. If you want to give somebody $5, go for it. If you just wanted to come here and connect,
that's nice.
Yeah, there used to be like a wine social and all this other stuff. So the idea is 15 minutes before, everybody's invited to bring your own glass of wine. It's all Zoom. We're doing everything on Zoom now. It's not in person. So I have to host that.
That's nice. I like that.
Now I've got to figure out how to do a fucking Zoom for 200 people. And that's what my meeting was about. Came at the same time as all the other fucking meetings.
So that is when, typically, in our house, when there's either our kids that take language classes have to record themselves doing something, even when school was completely in person for us, which it is still not, they would record themselves doing something in Spanish in our house. And the rest of our house is full of assholes. So our job is to sabotage some way the one human who is accomplishing something in our family. So if we had 3 Zooms running in the house, the one human that was not on the Zoom, here's what we do in our house. Ethan and I say, Ethan says, pass the weed every time Mallory logs on to do her Spanish. So then Ethan had to call about his project, had to call his counselor, and Mallory yells, "Pass the wheat!" Like Ethan did it subtly. She's like, "That's what we're doing."
Yeah,
you got
I'm
it.
fully
She
in.
screams, "Pass the wheat."
Cheerleader. I love that shit.
Does anybody want another beer? Like, it's just ridiculous. So 3 Zoom calls here in our house would be an invitation to debauchery. Like,
Wasn't
it really would
Annie's cousin who taught someone else in their family as an infant, like kept repeating the phrase, "Can't buy beer on food stamps"? Like they were trying to get the kid to have that be one of the first.
God.
Don't you remember that?
God, no. Oh, my God. That's about right. That's about right.
I hope that's a correct memory. But if not, let's make it one, because that seems to be how I do things in life. I misattribute things to my friends, and they're really fun that way for all of us, and maybe not so much the friend.
You had a birthday of your husband yesterday.
Indeed, we did.
How'd you celebrate him?
We went to a restaurant. We've got we're very, very friendly with the restaurant in Winston-Salem. He is super passionate. He's a pizza guy. He's actually started the whole thing to move from a traveling pizza oven thing that he had hooked up to a trailer
To brick and mortar.
Kickstarter. Yeah. So anyway, so every time, there's a lot of connection. So we walk in. So called Peyton and said, "Is there any way that you could do kind of like a little private setting?" So we went over there, just the 4 of us, had a nice little, everybody wearing masks to get in, and then sat down, and they put together a menu for us. And I don't eat clams, but I'm here. It was a pizza place. I'm here to tell you, but it's that kind of a pizza place. I'm here to tell you, just watching my husband eat this linguine with clam sauce, and it wasn't even linguine with clam sauce. It was, I forget the proper name of the dish, but if you can imagine a pasta dish that is filled with various kinds of seafood, it's that, whatever that's called. And instead of, I think I saw a few mussels maybe, but mostly it was clams, and the clams were
Fruit del Mar.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
The clams, he could not handle it. He was almost forcing the blistered tomatoes, this. He's like, "You have to eat this. I don't care if you don't like clams." I'm like, "But you hear the two things together, right?" So he's like, you're a fool. And then he was getting mad. Everyone ate it, even the kids.
He had
So
a good night, huh?
he was like, "You have to do this." And I'm like, "Can I not be happy not doing it? Can we?"
I'm happy for you that
Yeah.
you're happy.
So
Why torture me?
It was frankly, he was saying at the time, and I think he stands by it this morning, and he's like, "Your dad would love this." He's like, that was absolutely the best clams I've ever had in my entire life. And it's January in Greensboro. Like, how do you even get them? What's going on with you, not birthday friend?
Oh, so much. Yesterday we spent another day at the Jersey Shore looking for a house.
I was dreaming that you had done that. Truthfully,
We put in
I was.
another offer on another house.
I didn't dream that, but what the flocka fleeka floka?
I think it's ours if we want it. It's just happening so quickly
Sounds like
that
a crack house when you say it that way. Fill in some lines, please. It's ours if did you want it? It's not.
Before you got married or met the man of your dreams, you had a list of things you thought you wanted in a man.
Big dick.
Okay. Well, you got that. So you fulfilled all your dreams.
Are we doing prerequisites or ideals? Go ahead.
Ideals. Like we're
Okay.
looking at what we want in a shore house, and that's kind of like Stuart would like it near the water. I don't care. I would like it to be able to let the dogs out in the backyard, so I'm not constantly, did this one shit today? Did that one shit today? How do if I'm going to go, I want to enjoy it, not worry about what has come out of and gone into my canines. It's just the life that we live. It's just the life that I live.
Gotcha.
So, we found a house. It's not near, it doesn't check all the boxes. It checks a couple of the boxes. It showed us boxes we didn't know we'd be interested in.
That's interesting. I was hoping that was going to come out.
There were some features that we really liked, but it's not real close on either side to bay or ocean, but you could walk there. Odds are you'd want to get a bicycle with a little trailer on the back and ride your shit to the bike.
Or I don't think
Beach?
I don't think it's probably a golf car kind of a place.
No.
I did marketing for them forever. I know that most people call them golf carts, but that's like saying frat when you were in a fraternity. Like you can't ever say golf cart with a T. It's a golf car. Anyway.
Well, it's a club car, right?
It is. And you're welcome.
It's a club car. So
yes, I live in the house the club car built. So anyway, not such a big joke. They didn't build any fucking thing for me, but keep going. So it's not close enough to anything. You might get a bike with a hoobly-doo.
Yeah.
with a fringe on top.
And that's fine. But Stuart wants an outdoor entertaining area. And I said, I'm kind of a hermit. I don't entertain. Who are you inviting over to our house? Like, do we have to? So then there's a rush because there's another offer. And I don't know how much of that is bullshit,
right,
that there's another offer on the house. And here's the worst part. Our realtor is also representing the house with another realtor in her group, under her group, right? So stop rushing me. Stop insisting that, we said, furnished, because if we're going to pay what we're paying for a house, I don't want to then have to go and buy we can't afford all of that. And if we're going to rent it at all, I don't want you on my nice new furniture, stranger who's renting our home for the summer. So it's a lot. And we slept on it. And I said to Stuart this morning, I'd rather regret not buying a house than regret buying a house.
That's really insightful. And I don't want to sound like a tool because I feel like I just did. But that's a really big thing. I'm sorry. That's a really big and smart thing. And I'm glad that you had that feeling. So what'd you end up doing?
Well, the house is newish. It's 2.5 years old. And they were transferred. So they're leaving.
So they're hustling to get rid of it.
So I think they are. And there were people who saw it before us, and there were people who were waiting to see it as we left. So it's not even on the MLS. Like
it'll go.
If
you don't buy
it'll go. Definitely.
It'll go.
Yeah. Right. So that's why I know that one way or the other will regret it, either buying it or not buying it. I know that. But I'd rather live with the regret of not having spent bajillions of dollars.
With any kind of question mark.
Right. Okay. So that's what we're working with. And because we know that it was built 2 years ago, we said we don't need inspections because we have a 10-year home warranty, or the 8 years that are left on a home warranty. So if something's fucked, we'll get it fixed and it's under warranty. But we kind of want to know if anything has already been fucked. So how about just the condition disclosure? Like, could you just give us what you already know? She represents both clients. So what's going on with the house. So I feel like, I think the whole thing's a little greasy. I think the whole thing's a little dirty, and although I did get to the 3rd floor, and there's a round like porthole window in this loft area, which is so sweet. But if you look out at another house on the 3rd floor, and on the side of the house is like a 7-foot tall steal your face, Grateful Dead, steal your face emblem. And I was like, this might be a sign that we are to get this house. Like, this might be
your people.
To others, that's a sign not to get the house,
exactly.
Right? Like, look at those neighbors. They're definitely going to have a puff of weed through the whole cloud through the neighborhood.
You guys could set up a little string system from one side to the other, like the clothesline, and just buy your stuff right there. You don't have to walk downstairs. When
just
you run
move
out,
the clothesline.
Just move it from 3rd floor to 3rd floor.
It's New Jersey. It's legal now recreationally once they get their shit together.
Now too. Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah, just passed. Keep going with the house. Tell me more about that.
So it's just it feels a little dirty. I'm sure I mentioned this before. I married a man who feels like, and I want to knife him in the eyes when he says this, because I feel opposite. When he says, if it was meant to be, it'll be. Or if something doesn't happen, well, I guess it wasn't meant to be. Okay. I hear what you're saying,
and I divorce
you. Right, but I feel you make your magic happen. If it's meant to be, well, it happened because I made it happen, because I danced, I worked, you worked hard. I mean, you make your magic, you make things happen. So when he says things like, oh, well, if it's meant to be, no, get the paperwork in, do the research, find out. Don't give me the flighty if it's meant to be. However, I did feel myself yesterday saying, if there really is another offer and they're willing to do it with no inspections, no appraisal, no, like all
cut
cash,
all the corners.
Right. If you're going to do that and we're asking for the furniture and you're offering full price without furniture and without, we won't get it anyway. But that's not if it's meant to be. That's because they worked and gave up their shit and they like,
I don't, but see, I love that there's this difference between the two of you.
Yeah.
I don't think he is saying what you're hearing, Maybe he is. I mean, you fucking married him. But I'm just here to say, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. If it's meant to be, it'll be, or whatever, however the phrase is turned in his mouth. Versus you make your own sparkle, right? For me, when people are saying if it's meant to be, that already includes the notion of I work on a path to have things happen in my life, and when they don't work out the way that I was headed toward,
right,
that doesn't mean that I didn't bring my sparkle. It simply means that despite all the work that I put into this, or intention or effort or kismet or what it was, that I interpret that phrase to mean everything that happens is its own kind of a blessing, even when something sucks.
Because right, you could be meant for something else.
When like the suck things happen, the next thing that happens could not have been if not for. So for me, it's a way of just looking at things like when you're excited, it's exactly the same. You should feel exactly the same as when the worst occurs, because it's all laddering you up toward the next connection in your life. Now, I don't know how that fits in with like a fatalist view of the world or all the rest of it. And I also know him. He's so hardcore baked in of do the work and homework in advance and extra credits,
yes,
that he's allowed to have meant to be's, because he doesn't know what it is to not do the homework. If someone was laying around smoking weed and was too lazy to fucking sell the weed,
right,
and still saying if it's meant to be,
too lazy to sell
that's the
weed.
person you need to just escort off your couch, put some pants on, and leave my life. That's not him.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not. And that's how I finally came to we've done the work. And if that other couple gets the house because we wanted the furniture and then we're not in the place for it. And that's when I began to accept and adopt his meant to be nonsense.
Well, and in this case, it's not even, I know that it is work. I'm not saying it's not effort to go through all these shenanigans on paper as well as in your heart and in your brain. Is this it's
exhausting.
That's all exhausting effort and work, and it takes a toll. I get all that. And at the same time, it's not a fucking job. Even if you decided in this painstaking process to stop halfway through, that's not you not doing the work. Right? That's you deciding and making a decision to stop, that it's not worth all this extra, because that's part of whether you have it or not. Anyway, I'm hearing, I want to make sure I don't mess this up. You have put in the offer on this
we
super
have to
urgent,
sign it.
I was going to say on this super urgent critical, why are they taking so long to get back to you?
We have to sign it today. We need to show them that we can get the mortgage, and that letter comes this morning from our mortgage person. So, and I have to DocuSign today, but I'm going to go downstairs after this recording and say to my spouse, show me a list of the 10 things you wanted in a house. Does it have these 10 things? I mean, we don't need to put our kid for spring break week into a house, and that's not why we're spending this money. Like, this is a future. This is to hand down to our kids. I'll keep you updated.
How far away is it from the water, from the beach?
It's like
6 blocks.
4.5, but at the beach they say blocks, but they're avenues. I'm a New Yorker. You mean avenues?
Yeah. Okay, the
a
short
block
one
is a house and a half or two houses,
which I would say a city block versus an avenue. Yeah,
an avenue is a city block, so it's like 4 city blocks, 4 avenues from. That's not a short walk. If you need to take a dump and you're at the beach, which, dear listener, is my concern. You can go pee in the ocean. I don't give a shit. If you need to take a dump and you're out there, you're not walking 4 avenues back to your place to go shadooby. That's not going to happen. And that's really my concern, but it's really not, because I don't go to the beach so much and I could drive there.
Does Stuart love the house or like the house?
He likes the house.
Do you love the house or like the house?
I like the house.
Make an offer that's less money than you have and move on.
Somebody already offered full price.
So
do we let it
so
go?
You have to offer full price plus something else to even get it.
No, we offered full price and give us your furniture. We offered full price with conditions, because it's not worth it to us otherwise.
Well, your
we
decision's
still have
made.
to. All right. Well, we'll see what happens. If they let it go because we ask for too much, then they let it go because I think we might have put stumbling blocks in front of ourselves because it might, in the back of our heads, it might not be the right house. I don't know. Talking it out with you has helped a little, but I will see what happens. I will keep you updated next week. as well as tell you how I have also failed as a parent.
Well, let's jump into that one because you're not buying this house. Next. I wouldn't bother with the offer. Go ahead. So let me just say this final point as you go downstairs and do the 10 things of why did you want this marriage in the first place, right?
Yeah.
These are good things to do.
Sure you chose me?
Let's review what the situation we're stuck in forever. There are things that you wanted in this house, location being the most important for both of you. It doesn't do that for either of you. That's really kind of a deal breaker right there, even if it wasn't because everything else counterbalanced it. Someone else is offering full list price and you're coming in and not beating that. So it doesn't matter if you want it. You're not prepared to win it. I wouldn't care what your offer is if I have a full price without the furniture. If I have a full price, the only difference would be if they have some kind of wacky contingency or 30 days. I mean, if it's a full price offer on the table, ready to go, a realtor's not going to make that up because the realtor wants to sell the fucking house.
Right.
She's not going to say, you know what I mean? She's not going to turn you away. The only reason that you would know it's total bullshit, you have all the cards. Because if you don't put the offer in, or you put in an offer that matches what you need and pays no credence to whatever you suspect is on the table, and then this realtor comes back and say, oh, that other offer fell through. If you decide not to put in an offer, the other offer fell through. No, she knows it's hot. She's telling the truth. Right? If she's not and she lets you get away, then she's going to come back looking for you to sell it. It's a beach house. You're ready to put an offer in and you don't even love it. It's just hot. It's going to go. Let it go. Pick another one. Tell me about your marriage. Parenting. Tell me about your parenting.
Just when I think I've got this parenting thing down.
You do? When do you get there?
I know. You get to a phase where you're like, I got this. We're steady. Everybody stay steady, change nothing.
Maybe you do.
My kid gets into all the schools he's interested in. We haven't gotten a rejection yet.
College, university,
I'm smart. I love that song. It ends with, I'm smart. So
I am smart. SMRT.
Nice. Very nice.
It's from Homer Simpson.
So he's super happy. He's like deciding between joy and joy. Like, how do I joy that cost my parents $1 million and we can't get a shore house, or joy we can afford in state that will let me take my friends down to the Jersey Shore on weekends. And super. This is a better school. This is lesser school, giving me more money and putting me in their honors program. Like the things we're juggling are joy or joy. Like they're all good things, right? Knock, knock.
Right.
Then my daughter gets super cute, and you got to know that she's the one who works harder. They're both bright kids, brilliant, some might say, but she works harder for it and she gets rewarded for it. She comes into my room and says, I found this book that you used to read to me when I was little, and it was my favorite book. And it's a Halloweenish book. It's about the little old lady who wasn't afraid of anything, who went for a walk and to pick up flowers and herbs, and she ran into a pair of shoes, and then you say, 2 shoes go, and the little kid yells, clomp, clomp. So she comes into our room to read with us, call and answer. It's the sweetest thing ever. And she says, and the little old lady picked up flowers and herbs. And I said,
get out of my house.
What the fuck did you just say? I'm such a bad parent. She pronounces the H in herbs?
Maybe she thinks she's a transatlantic speaker. No. We're not in Europe.
What in our history together? Like she picked up 7 men named Herb. Like that's the only time it's okay to put a herb in a basket. It's herbs. The Colonel's secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices. What is going on? I fucking failed. And I kind of want to blame some of this on the fact that she's a voracious reader and everything goes right next to her brain and never comes out her mouth. But you are 16 and you just said the word herbs instead of herbs.
You are 16, moving now out of house because you can't pronounce.
I can't win. Like, I can't believe she did that. So she's like, fine, it's herbs. Ask your friends on Facebook.
What does that matter? Why don't you just scream out the fucking window? Everyone knows this.
You don't want to recruit that group of weirdos. You do not want to do that. She did, and we did, and she's wrong,
Yes.
obviously. But she's like, no, those are your friends. They're agreeing with you. I said, no, I did not place
It's not a conspiracy.
my
It's just
opinion. Yeah. Herbs. So I got it right, and then I got it wrong. Like, what have I done? Sweet Jesus, what have I done? Become a thief in the night? Like, I can't believe she was so far off. Smart as can be, dumb as can be at the exact same time.
What a sadness. I'm sorry. That's so heavy. That's so heavy on your heart. It is your fault. Yeah, I agree.
I also think the fact that they don't leave the house and talk to people anymore. I mean, how do you find out if it's right? Well, I would say it's right. So trust me, I'm 40. You got this. I got this.
You are
Don't
parenting
worry.
in that way because there is no other access to humans to mock her. So for you to fill that void, if she was walking down the street and saying herbs, 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 other than getting arrested, people would point their finger and throw tomatoes at her. I'm
looking forward to that day.
You have to parent in the absence of societal influence. It's just the way
I thought camp would do that for my kids. Like, I took off a wet bathing suit and left it on the ground. Well, somebody's got to sweep that ground, and you can't, like, you have to adhere to society's norms. Like, you're in a bunk now living with still wet towels on beds and floors. Like, it didn't really work. So I'm hoping the tomatoes thrown at my daughter for saying herbs is a better deterrent and is a better tool.
I feel like there's levels to those infractions against humanity, though. Really, we should rank them.
Do
in
you,
the future, Cho?
Amy?
Yes, Melissa.
It seems that your father, for Christmas this year, got an air fryer.
I don't know if it's for Christmas or for COVID or for boredom or for what, but he did, in fact, get an air fryer, and he loves to dabble with cooking. And he gets really into it, and he wants to call when he's come up with a new recipe. You know, it's linguine with brie or all these other crazy things. So I think we were talking about...
That sounds amazing, by the way.
He swears by it. We were talking about proper techniques for getting a sear on a filet, and we were going through that, and he really felt happy and excited. And then we were talking a couple of weeks ago, and he said, now I have to ask you, air fryer, and he started to go down, and I'm like... I don't actually have one. And he couldn't believe it. He's like, all right. And that was it. So we didn't talk anymore. Not that he cut me off. I'm just saying it's like he knew I had nothing to contribute. But I have so many friends who have air fryers and swear by them. The first thing that he said was, I don't understand why I would bother with this. It gets things marginally cooked and crispy, no different than using the oven. And it's a pain in the ass to clean it. So what am I missing? You now must answer this unanswerable question.
I think our society loves anything fried, right? So if you have an excuse to fry something without 6 inches of oil, that is appealing to people. So if you are going to use the oven to bake something, that's a different story. And I think that's what he's talking about. But if you are going to set something in a fryer, which is submersion in oil, for example, in our freezer for Super Bowl Sunday, we had, let's say, mozzarella sticks, wings, and I don't know what else is out there that's in the freezer, but
tiny egg rolls.
And tiny egg rolls. Perfect, right from the freezer. Drop them in there, set some temperature. 15 minutes later, you have perfectly non-greasy, non-submerged, non-disgusting. Have to wipe off with a towel, have to treat, have to run down your that's appealing to me.
Okay, but here's the question to jump in. Have you ever taken those better when properly fried freezer items and cooked them on a sheet pan in your oven? Have you ever done that?
That's the only way I make them.
Okay, so you're saying that prior, that's how you would do it, and now you put them in the air fryer, and there is a considerable difference. They are far closer to the deep fry, crispy, or they're still pretty much close to the sheet pan option. He's saying it's kind of like the same as the fucking sheet pan.
Okay, and I hear, believe you me, when he threw in it's harder to clean, he had me at clean. Like that, he had me. What I would like to do is request from our dear listeners to let us know, please, what are your best recipes for your air fryer? Are you making potato chips in an air fryer? We tried that once and they were fucking delicious. But it was like an afternoon's worth of activity. I don't fucking need that.
It's like an event. Yeah.
Lay's does a real good job. Like I don't need to second guess them, but you can if you are one who has potatoes and it's right now for me, I'm getting 7, 8, 9, 10 inches of snow. I'm not going out, but I got this massive potato. If you have Amy's mandolin, if you have a way to cut it in a thin slivers and you want to make it in there, or do you remember I told you I went to a fair where they had a little machine that just shaved an entire potato down to be really like one piece, and then they again did not use an air fryer. Yeah, this one massive potato became this pile of joy. All right, now I'm hungry.
Well, I'm curious. I'm interested in getting an air fryer. I've thought about it when it became the craze in the same way that I thought about the Instant Pot. But the Instant Pot to me looks like an even bigger joke. So I don't do it.
It's harder to clean than an air fryer. Air fryer has a drawer you pull out and you clean the drawer. The whole Instant Pot is it's harder.
It seems like also you're going to die. Isn't it just a newfangled pressure cooker? And those things have killed people since they came around in the 50s. So I'm not joking. Don't die.
Don't they use those to make bombs in certain places?
Yeah, I mean, I can make some eggs. It's like back in the day, which was, 3 years ago. Back in the day when people were saying, oh, and always, a rice cooker, it's transformed my life. And I'm like, isn't a rice cooker just a fucking pot? I mean, you can make rice. I don't get it.
Do you eat that much rice that you need a rice cooker?
Well, they're like, it's perfect every time. I'm like, right. On the stove. Like I don't get it.
Right. 2 cups of water.
It's a fucking pot. So there must be something that I'm missing. And I think my dad was feeling the same way. So we'll see. Well,
I'd like to ask the listeners to share their excellent recipes for air fryers with us, because Amy's dad's kind of right. I've lived without it all this time, although it is fun to play with. I got that mixer and now I'm going to make challah again. I'm going to make bread again because that was kind of fun and the product was kind of amazing. So
I'm so jealous. You're really
I didn't realize that you can put ingredients into a bowl that mixes itself and then braid it and have fucking joy.
Mm-hmm.
Carb joy. Carb joy is really the way to go. I don't know if any other joy counts other than carb joy.
Bread.
So, dear listener, on the board for topics for this week, Amy posted, "Oh my Jesus, Chris Hemsworth's penis."
Oh my Jesus. Have you seen it?
And I thought I could Google this.
No.
Or I could wait. And I chose to wait.
Yeah, because if you Googled it, you would have not shown up for the thing today. You would have had something else to do.
Okay. Why is there a picture?
Huh?
Why is there his penis online? What happened?
So let me tell you what happened.
What did I miss?
Well, here's what I now know. His name is Hemsworth with there's no L. So I'm learning so much, right? Okay, because I did Google it. I woke up in the middle of the night, which is my new habit. I love it.
You got to break that habit.
Also lying. So, and somehow the television was already on. So this methinks I must have fallen asleep, turned off the television, and was so tired when I turned it off that I didn't bother to move the remote from wherever I was in the middle of the bed all the way over to my night table. I must have rollen over in my sleep and turned the TV on. That or my dog did it.
Maybe that's what woke you up.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I look up groggy, and on the TV, there is Chris Hemsworth in his undernothings, and he has sprouted a sizable erection. I mean, it's large. It was, there's no kidding. I was thinking, hang on now. What? So I'm looking at the TV and I'm thinking, is he in a porno? And then I'm thinking, how is there a porno? I don't watch, I didn't understand anything. And before I could even stop looking at his dick, they expanded the camera angle. And in bed is Christina Applegate waiting for him. And now I'm like, this is a dream and I'm in. So I was thinking I'm not awake.
You found Hallmark After Dark.
Yeah. And then, but in the bed also with Christina Applegate is that other actor who I know and love, and I don't remember his name and I didn't look him up. So he's in bed with her, right? And Chris is standing there with the big good morning smile, right? So he's standing there and they're talking and I'm just watching, no shirt, just the underwear and the huge cock. That's it. So I'm watching this whole thing and they keep cutting back to Christina Applegate's face and she's making the face you're making. She's just smiling, mouth closed, eyes very large and blinking. She says nothing. That's all she does. And the
I
other
don't know what to say.
And the other dope in the bed, who is a fabulous actor, it's just looking everywhere else that he could possibly look. And then, of course, Chris moves in. He's somehow like showing them how the TV remote works or something. And he puts his leg up on the bed and then leans in. So now the dick is like right near the head of the guy in the bed already. And he's sort of looking over at it. So then I'm convincing myself, is this Saturday Night Live? Like, what's happening?
Is this a movie?
I didn't think it was real. And I really didn't want to when I woke up. I turned it off, by the way. And then when I woke up, no, what am I going to fucking do? I'm not watching that shit. So then I woke up and I was still thinking about it. I thought I was dreaming. So when I woke up, I was too nervous to Google it. Here's the truth. Because I don't want porn flown at me. So I'm not going to Google like Chris Hemsworth dick porn, So 2 to 3 days go by and I'm still thinking about his giant dick. Because why wouldn't you? I mean, when you see it. So, okay. Then I thought, was this really a thing? It's in a movie, thankfully. I'm like, was he in a porn? Did I just watch a porn? Did something happen? It's in a movie. And then I got the nerve, and just this morning, I looked up, it's a prosthesis. Because I was thinking this whole time, how does this star decide I'm going to stand off camera and jerk it and then come in with these other stars and wag my dick? And then I went down this whole rabbit hole thinking, isn't that what women do when they have to have these massive nipples coming at everybody? These pencil eraser nipples? That's not how, they're not permanently in that state. Gang, hot tip. So something has to happen to make that happen. So why should I be concerned that he had to somehow do this? And it kind of looked right. But here's the best part. The only reason that I know it's a prosthetic, the donk, is because the two directors were the only ones who would talk about it. And they said...
Ed Helms the other person in the bed with her?
Did he used to be on The Office?
Yeah.
Then that's
Ed
him.
Helms.
Yes, that's him. That's him.
It's Vacation is what you were watching.
Okay, the new Vacation. So
yeah.
The new National Lampoons. Okay, so the directors were talking about they had to have him fitted for a prosthetic. And they had a poor...
That should have been fun.
They had a poor stand-in doing the whole scene because that's what you do. You have for lighting and everything else. And the stand-in was there with multiple penis prosthetics trying to figure out what would work. And the director said, and it was as far opposite of funny as you could imagine. We felt so awful for this poor guy and the multiple dicks and the whole thing. And then finally, when it came time to do it with Chris, he was into it. Is the exact phrase that the director used.
I love that.
He was into it, and it was hilarious. We had narrowed it down, and we brought 2 prosthetics, an 8-inch and a 10-inch. And we put the 8-inch one on first, and it just looked normal. So we had to use the 10-inch prosthetic.
Wow.
And
Attaboy.
Before they fitted it, I guess, to him, Chris was playing with it for some time and realized that there was a rod in the middle of it that you could bend it in such a way, but then it would stay in that position. And he thought it would be better without that. So he pulled the rod out, so now it was just floppy and he could move it where he wanted. And sales of the movie Vacation went through the roof.
Rental.
I'm just trying to say I haven't seen that movie, and now I'm kind of thinking it's like Outlander. My face is so red you can see it. I'm thinking I won't watch Outlander now because to go back specifically to watch it for all the basically porn versus watch Outlander. It's a great series. It's got these great characters. It's wonderful. And like that's, you know what I mean? It's like I don't want to go to Vacation where it's like I'm not ready for real porn, but I'll take Chris Hemsworth. Bing.
I think you're ready for real porn. I'll tell you.
I don't want
two
it.
things on that. We have a dear friend who is a showrunner and producer. Like, could you imagine if
Nominated for another Golden Globe?
Could you imagine if it was her job to find these appropriate props and get them fitted on this gentleman?
The conversation between Lisa and Chris. And first of all, you're not even cutting to the best part of it. Okay, as much as I love you, Lisa, I don't think you're going to like this next part. And it must be said, gang. Chris Hemsworth, I'm sure he has some well-known height. Are we going to say 6'4", 6'7"? How tall? He's quite tall. Is he just 6'2" and looks very tall?
I don't know.
Let's say he's 6'4". That's my guess, is that because he's always taller than everybody else. Lisa is probably 5'1".
Yeah,
so,
maybe.
So like that,
on a tall
like
day.
that 8-inch prosthetic, she's going to hit him at a pretty interesting height while she's trying to fit these devices to that area. And she liketh the ladies. So it's the whole thing. I could just imagine her standing there like totally bored.
Like, yeah, I'm sure you think this
SNL
is funny.
Comedy skit. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sure you think this is funny, but this is my Thursday and I have plans tonight. So can we wrap this up?
I mean, very different than when she had to somehow fit something onto Gina Gershon's boobies. That was a very different day on the set for her, as I recall.
I think I would like that better too. Did I say that out loud? I don't know. I mean, Chris Hemsworth is as hot as they come, and I did see him, I think, dancing with a doodle in a video with his kids. Like there's nothing not to like about him until, of course, he comes out with an Army Hammer story where he's eating his ex-girlfriends. And I'll talk to you about that in a second.
I don't know. And I heard on Saturday Night Live just this morning, because we're tired and we watch it the morning the next day after. They said they made a joke casually about or Army Hammer. Like, that's the worst thing. I don't even know. What has he done?
So let's finish with Chris first. Let's finish with Chris first. One, the prop meister having to deal with that. And number two, the stand-in, that poor guy that had to stand there. Like, what's on your resume?
And
well, I'm a member of SAG.
Where could a friend maybe buy a 10-inch rod prosthesis? So
that's Lisa's problem. But the stand-in is like, okay, here's my resume. I'm on
for home use is what I'm trying to just keep it in the glove box of the car. I mean, you never know when you're going to have a little requirement.
Now you're going to be sorry you said that. I'm going to get a P.O. box and I'm going to have our listeners
don't buy me a
send
dick.
Us dildos for you and attachments because you are asking for it, pointing to yourself that they can't see. She's looking to find out where they did get that extension.
Don't want a rotted prosthesis. I have no need for a pretend penis. I have no need for this. I don't desire it, and I will reject sender, however that works when the boxes come to the house.
Return to sender. So 2 weeks ago, Mallory and I were sitting in the car, and she says, "Do you know who Army Hammer is?" I said, "I do.
Don't you
He's an actor."
Kitchen? Yeah, I know.
She said, "Well, he's being canceled right now."
This whole idea of cancel culture is hilarious.
And I said, "Well, why? What did he do?" Because to be TBH, acting wise, I kind of dig him. Like, he plays really.
Is this the? I'm sorry to cut in on you again.
Go ahead.
This is The Witcher. This is Superman, right? Or am I wrong?
No,
it's his friend. It's his friend who's blonde and gets beat up in that Tom Cruise movie. Yeah. Okay, I know who it is.
Did you see Call Me by Your Name?
No.
You should.
That's like a gay fantasy. Let's get it on her.
It was good. You should see it.
Fantastic.
I'm just saying. But he did. I think he did like Tonto and
Failure. Right. So Lone Ranger.
Lone Ranger. I know that he did The Social Network.
What?
He was in the Facebook movie. Remember
everyone has seen it, but nobody remembered him in it.
Yeah, he was one of the twins.
Winklevossers? He had
yes,
been.
yes,
yeah.
That's exactly who he was.
That fits it.
With Fincher. He did Blackout. He was in Desperate Housewives briefly. He was in Gossip Girl, Veronica Mars, Arrested Development, Reaper, psychological thriller Blackout. He played the evangelist Billy Graham in Billy, the early years. I definitely did not see that. Anyway, he's done a lot of indie stuff too. He did that very gay coming of age, loved every minute of that movie because it happened in Europe and crazy things happened there anyway. So, yay. So anyway, she says to me, "Do you know this man?" "Yeah, he's a great actor." She said, "Well, all these women are coming out now to cancel him because he's a cannibal." And I said, "Oh, Mallory, he is not a cannibal.
That's just called, sorry.
Honey, when somebody says eat me, they don't mean eat me." Like,
when a man and a woman are very, very much in love,
in love or
Love
drunk.
each other very, very much. Yeah.
Or high or drunk,
That's
whatever.
Right. That's right.
So she says, yeah, all these DMs came out with, I want to take a bite out of, I want to suck your bone marrow. I like all of the things, drink your blood and eat your skin. Like all of these, he apparently he carved a little A for Army in the hip of one of the girls he was dating. These are all so far consensual activities, right? So I started to think, well, first of all, ew. Second of all, thank God my daughter's offended by this and not like, oh, I wonder what that would look like or feel like. So I'm grateful for her being horrified by him. But everybody's got a tiny kink, except you. Of course, except you. Everybody has like, not everybody, but most people have a tiny kink. This is not a tiny kink. This is like the worst kink that might get you canceled from your career of shit that you do really well. So that's kind of a waste. Yeah.
The whole idea of cancel culture really, really unnerves me because there is a value in societal sanctioning. There is a value in saying, yeah, we're kind of not down with that. That's very different to me than it's back in the, 6 years ago when people started saying politically correct. And so they would use that as the banner to say, so now I'm going to say all these vile, despicable, hateful things that no one would ever accept anyway. And you can't do anything about it because I demand freedom. I mean, so it's not to be canceled when somebody is abusing other people. That's not canceling them. That's saying we don't want to support abusers. And we certainly don't want to elevate them into positions of authority and influence and notoriety. Now, we're also talking about why is this information coming out? Because these people who were in the relationships, do they feel tricked? Do they feel like they were groomed? Do they feel like they want to get some publicity because they're going to talk about some weird shit that they thought was great last week that suddenly this week is not as great as getting a headline with their name in it? I don't understand.
Oh, how it came about, how it came out. I
mean,
don't know if they were
the carving into somebody else, the cutting of people. Super not down with that. I think it's abusive. Even people who say they're consensually doing it, I really say no. That's
I
one
question
where I think
your
it's
ability.
I don't think you should be down with that. Having said all of that stuff, even putting it to the side, that's not as disturbing as this mention that you said about eating people. Was he just texting? Did he, or was there
They were messaging. No, they were messaging about it, or maybe he. I don't know.
So creepy texts and a cut is what we're talking about. So it's not like there's a video of him actually feasting on somebody's like amputated
No, there's
arm.
no video of that.
Okay.
There's no video of that. I'm pretty confident that actors like that are aware of when
like a
somebody's
turkey
rolling.
leg. I like femur. Yeah, no, gross.
So I also feel like as you're discussing cancel culture, I'm thinking there's also value in learning a lesson.
Yes. If only, America.
Let's get on that. If only to learn the lesson of this is not okay. Does your life need to end?
It's not someone saying, I want a tattoo. It's someone saying, I'm going to give you a tattoo of my initial right now.
I don't know how it happened. Yeah, I don't know how it happened.
So,
I don't think we know enough about what
Well, why
he
is it?
did.
That's the next thing that I was going to jump to. Why do we know about it at all? Was there a lawsuit, or was this one day somebody decided, I want to talk about this, and here's the reason. I don't want this to happen to anybody else because I regret it happening to me. Or is it, I need a headline? Here we go.
Or is it, he broke up with me, stopped seeing me, and now I'm mad at him for stop. So it's revenge. Look, I'm upset that I'm going to do it, but I will do more research on this topic because I feel like, dear listener, we gave you half a story and lots of opinions. And that's really not my favorite way to present anything to you. So I am going to do a little more research. What I do remember reading is that he broke up with these girls. He was done. Like he's, I don't know, Lothario. I don't know. He could be a rake. This is my new word from Bridgerton. He's a rake. So he goes all over and dates all these people. And maybe they wanted more. Maybe they weren't done. Maybe I don't know is what I'm saying. I'll do the research for you. Hate myself doing it. But I will find out why we know so much about this now. Is there a lawsuit? Are people just scorned and want to punish him? And it's working if that was their goal, because all of these people are canceling his contracts, his movies. Like he's suffering now because of this. And I'm sure he has a line of people at his door saying, carve me up. I would love to be a part of this, because I think my initial point before delving into this was everybody's got something that, look, I fear being hypnotized because although I don't feel like anything's going to happen and I don't think I could be hypnotized, I fear that because I don't want people to know my deep down thoughts. And if that's a door, hypnotizing opens that door. I don't want that. I like that I have internal dialogue that other people don't get to hear.
Does Stuart hear it?
Well, I was driving with Stuart yesterday on the way back from the shore, and there was something in the road. And out loud I said, please be a bag, not an animal. Please be a bag, not an animal. Please be a bag, not an animal. And he said, after he passed it, and it was like somebody dropped a rug off a car or something, and it was not an animal. He said, I want to let you know I'm grateful that you just let me into what you were just thinking, because that's the internal dialogue. But he's like, and he made clear that he knew that that was what was going on inside and did not know normally ever what's going on inside. So he thanked me for opening up with my, please be a bag, not an animal. Or a bag of animals that we could turn around and go bring home. Because that would happen to me.
Lord have mercy on our souls.
So I will research that for you, dear listener, as well as take a look at that Hemsworth penis prosthetic.
It's hard to look away. Emphasis on the hard. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
I came to the conclusion last week that fear is not all bad. We've had a couple of snowstorms, and I have a parent, I bet you can guess which one, who instilled this wild fear in me, said it last time too, of snow and driving and being out in it and, I don't know, snowboarding and skiing and fear, like lots of fear. I think that's the root of a lot of my fears. But I don't know, sharks, like there are things that it's okay to be afraid of.
I'm going to say I support the fear of sharks. I don't feel like we need to walk around going, fuck you, shark.
What are other good fears?
I mean, fear of falling off a fucking cliff. These are good fears to have.
Keeps
Anything
you
that's
close
going
to
yes, anything is going to stop you. Fear of boyfriend in bed with a knife saying, hey, you know what's fun? Yeah, no, I don't like, these are good fears. Say, I'm going to go to the kitchen and leave the house. These are happy fears.
So fear, fine, for safety. You're saying this is for your health and safety fears, right?
Well, everybody says this 1,000 times. An animal would never get into a metal box with a predator and then let the doors close. An animal would never do that. But we always, as humans, have that moment where the elevator opens, you get a creepy vibe, and you still step in. So we do really stupid things all the time against our fear. And fear's there for a reason. Fear is your body saying, fuck, 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 stupid, fuck. And then it's just a question of, why are you not listening? You listen to me when I say a bunch of stuff that's not true. You listen to me when I say really mean things about you. But when I'm trying to protect you with all my fears, that's when you tell me, shut up, head. I'm going to go and jump off this cliff with a tiny rope dangled around my waist. Bungee. Like, it's just stupid.
And I'm going to pee myself as I do it.
Classy.
I did that at my wedding. I did that at my wedding too.
You bungee jumped and peed at your wedding?
I did. There was so much commotion. I was like, I think I just peed myself.
Wait a minute.
Help.
You peed yourself in your wedding dress at your wedding?
A little bit.
A little bit or a lot of bit?
No,
it's
a
out.
bit.
It's out now.
Yeah,
it was
a little bit.
Really long wedding.
It was ridiculous.
It was really long.
It was ridiculous.
We've told this before, but I don't know if I've told it on pod. When we went to your wedding, and after you two got married, and we went to the reception, and it was, I think there were martini glasses with caviar. So maybe it was like a caviar or like a sushi
mashed potato. It was
station
a mashed potato
or something.
bar.
Yeah, and we were all just sort of milling around, and it was a packed room. There were a lot of people in there, but it felt wonderful, and it was just like, this is really joyous and really fun, and it was honestly one of the nicer receptions that we had been to, and thought, this is really a
Where's
big deal.
Melissa? Is she changing her underpants right now?
No, you were there, and I was admiring your ring and your dress. I even got to see you, and I thought, oh, okay, this is great. And then something, I don't know what happened, but there was like a little ding or a sound, and they opened doors, and there was like
you
a
were in the
second
cocktail hour,
fucking reception. We thought the cocktail hour was the nicest reception we had ever been to until we got to the sit-down fucking dinner with the band, I think, who had previously played for Melissa Rivers' wedding. I think that was the highlight of it was quite a fete. So top two, I think, arguably number one, top three of all time. And trust me, I'm an Italian. I'm married an Italian. I've been to some fucking weddings. So, oh my Lord, the shindig. Quite. And we've been to many, many a wedding whose entire reception couldn't hold a candle to your pre-party event. So they come in all kinds, kids. They come in all kinds, these receptions.
Do what's right for you.
So let's talk about your pee in that dress. Did you really go change your underwear? Or did you just, as you said from last week, drop them?
I dropped them.
You were walking around cooch akimbo in that white dress?
Later.
They put you up on a chair. We could look up your leg. What the fuck is happening? You did not have
I had to.
Bladder out for
that
everyone to see.
That was one of my most embarrassing moments that I just shared with an audience of 7.
I can't believe that your pud was out. The first marital act is you're walking around still in the dress. Naked and unclean. Stuart.
No, I was clean after that. I didn't want to be unclean. But that's not one of my fears. That's fear of getting married probably made me pee. But that would have been, that's a safety thing. I'm trying to look out for you. Your body knows better. I was thinking about your elevator. I would not get in an elevator if I felt uncomfortable.
Sure you would.
I would not walk into, I would be like, oh, I totally forgot something. I'll be right back. You go on without me. I would totally disappear.
I would completely fight the fear instinct. And I would defer to it would be worse to look like I'm rude or crazy.
I don't mind looking like I'm crazy. Ask my kids,
I would tell you, I know that I am rude. I know that I am crazy. I know that I look rude. I know that I look crazy. But when given the choice to prevent that perception, I will go to it every time, and it's so stupid. What the fuck do I care what this person who's going to strangle me in the elevator thinks before I allow him to strangle me? I would much rather have him think she's such a nice girl. Like, I don't get. It's just so.
Are you sure you're not my sister? Have you met my parent? What people think is really important, it seems.
Well, part of it, too, I think, is I have this natural proclivity to whenever the worst is happening, I want to excuse it away. And sometimes that's really helpful. Most of the time, it's really helpful, even as a worldview. Like, of all the scenarios and you're trying to guess how could this be happening, there's always one where it's innocuous, it's a mistake, there's nothing wrong, think the best. I do it. And so it's not something I think about doing. It naturally, I have a switch inside that's, not under my control. I bounce to that, even against logic. So
common sense.
Sometimes I get some very bad poo-poos in my life because of this.
Hey, how's your sourdough going? I can't believe you don't have fucking bread. It's been like a year that you've been doing this and there's no bread.
Well, here's the thing. I've been frightened to make the bread.
Frightened? Is this the fear coming out?
I'm telling you the fact from my soul. I'm scared to make the bread.
Fear is good when it's for safety. Fear is not good when it prevents you.
I thought this was the easiest thing. These hippies are going to throw some dirt in a bowl and smear it on a baking sheet and you're done. I mean, it is so fucking complicated. I've stumbled into some sort of overly elaborate situation. So 3 things have happened since I started this whole process. I switched over to a simplified version and realized I had been making this incredibly difficult when it doesn't really need to be. So I changed a couple of things and it exploded overnight. So it was like, oh, now it's working. I see. I get it. The other thing that happened is now all these recipes don't really match because it's sort of, there's one way to make a bread with sourdough starter called a levain. So you start with a little piece of it and it's more of a liquid. And then there's the other people who are like, pour it in a bowl, stick some flour. Now you got some bread. Check it. Like they are 2 totally different. One is like a proper baking technique as if you're going to, I don't know what the baking version of culinary college is, but that's what I was following. And it was making my head hurt. And then this other one, I fucking started it last night and I got this shit. I'm going to bake it after this show. It's rising and it's in the fucking pan. And I don't want to, I think I'm going to throw it away. I don't even want to cook it. I just don't even want to cook it. I don't even want to cook it. I
ridiculous.
don't even want to cook it because the reality of pulling out of the oven this flat, hardened cow pie, hockey puck, inedible horse shit is so much worse than just throwing it out before I bother wasting
No, you have
450
to try.
degrees for 20 minutes or however long it's fucking going to take.
You looked at Anya's suggestions and
I
her-
refused to. We got excellent user feedback and I refused to because I thought, oh, I'm going to pull that up and I'm going to look at it. And then every day when my brain is pounding, the other thing is you do this shit in the morning. And so you come to the bubbling mass and it's all sort of fruity and sour and grossy smelling, but it's like a good gross smell. And you're playing with this goo and you're measuring shit. And I'm like, I can't even read. My eyes don't work. Just put it in the fucking measured go. Ugh. So I get really optimistic. And then in the middle of the process, it's not that I get bored, but I kind of get bored and nervous. It's just doing the same shit every day with precision is draining. It's just draining. Some days you're not there at the right hour. One night I'm too tired and I'll just leave it till tomorrow. Like you can't do that. And it's not like you're caring for a baby, but it sort of feels like you're caring for a baby in this weird, there's this constant pull of no one is actually making you do this or grading you on this. So every day I keep having this voice of, but you could stop. And then
there's accountability now. You have dear listener who wants to know what the fuck.
Okay, so I have the shit loaf ready in the Dutch oven that I'm supposed to put in the oven. And I
oven.
almost started it. I almost started it before this fucking record. But if I did, I'd have to have somebody else pull it out. And then that would introduce this whole nother thing of, but I don't know if it's done. And I pulled it out, or maybe they pulled it out too early, or they pulled it out, or it's burnt. Or I have to ruin it myself in order for it to be declared ruined. It's too much. I don't know how people found solace in this when the world was ending, droplet by droplet. This has been the most stupid thing. And my husband is now looking at me and going, isn't it time to let that go?
Let this go.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, quitter. Like, I just can't.
We're eating out at restaurants now. Could you let
It brings
the
me
sourdough
the
go?
opposite of joy. It's filling me with anger. I am refusing to proceed with the process, and I will not give it up. So now you understand who I am as a person.
You should just make challah. It's just joy.
I've made it before. I went to a huge Jew challah party. It was delightful.
I want to let you know, Amy posted something on Facebook that I want to share with the dear listeners. I'm also going to tell you that you could share something with us by writing us at brilliantobservations@gmail.com. Please don't mock me.
Spell it just that way.
Observations.
OBSH.
Brilliant observations.
URVEE.
at gmail.com. Listen Brilliant on the socials, or even just go to Facebook at Brilliant Observations. You can join Brillob's squad and let us know. She posted something about Girl Scout Troop 6000.
Yeah.
And I really want you guys to know, well, Jews aren't Girl Scouts. Let me start there.
Really?
It's just nothing unless there's like an all Jewish troop. It's just nothing we at Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. It's just nothing that the Jews did growing up.
Oh.
But I want you to know there are studies that prove that young women who were Girl Scouts are more resilient, who are more everything. They're more powerful in the world. They have a voice. They are more confident. And there's Troop 6000, which has been started for shelter girls in New York City, Queens, Brooklyn. The girls, young ladies who are living in homeless shelters are part of this troop. If you would like to get Girl Scout cookies, if you would like to just support this troop, you can go online and look up Troop 6000. I cried as I read the description of this group. And then Stuart said, yeah, let's make a donation. I'm like, fuck that. We are getting cookies. I will
donate into my stomach. Yeah.
I will make a donation, but they will pay me back in Thin Mints because, oh my God.
I know.
So I think it's just a beautiful story that she posted. If you can go see it, if you can't, trust me, look it up. It's so great and inspiring and wonderful. And they go from shelter to shelter for their meetings. And it is giving them purpose and activity, especially during quarantine. It is giving them activity, purpose, and life skills that they would not have had prior.
Well, and it's this idea of access to something in their life that has a sense of normalcy. When you're living in an environment that is so completely other, and as a child, you are the epitome of powerless in that situation. Adults are powerless in that situation. Imagine with the child. They are at the whim of their parent. That's really...
Who is at the whim of a shelter.
It's
like you're double whimmed.
It's the way that people so easily and instantly connect with abused animals.
But not
shocks
people.
me, but not people. These kids are not abused, but they're in situations that are psychically traumatic. I was going to say abusive, and that's going too far. These are life traumas that they're living through, that their whole families are, but the kids even more so. The fact that they are not an instant emotional, gotta help them right now trigger for hordes of people always surprises me. So when I saw this story, it had that smile to it. It had the notion of, okay, let's just fast forward to, let's do something that's a positive, as opposed to let's throw money at it or throw volunteers at it. Let's give an experience that's a positive. That's also not a Make-A-Wish style experience, which is you get the zenith for one day. Right? It's a life experience that is normal for other girls, other kids. So that's really what I liked a whole lot about it. Plus,
they had
cookies.
regular meetings and plus cookies. They had regular meetings. They had go check it out. It's wildly inspiring, moving, and please feel free.
Oh, I had forgotten about that. Yay.
To donate and to get your cookies from there. I mean, sorry, Dina. I normally do online for your daughters. This year, your daughters will do okay. I promise. They'll be fine.
Well,
they
look at it
actually
this
just
way,
got
Miss.
a puppy.
Look at it this way, Miss. If the house deal falls through, you'll have a little bit of extra spread this month. And
I will.
You can buy from both places. See,
No, I'll just.
See,
that's right.
See, I got your back.
Let's move that Florida sale mortgage right over to the Girl Scouts of Troop 6000. Or get the house and let them live there.
Even better.
Even better. When you were younger and you stayed home from school sick, what do you remember?
Tasty cake crimpets, flat ginger ale, and Gilligan's Island.
Yes, yes, and yes. I love all of those things. I had cheese nips, The Price is Right, and I somehow got started watching my mother's soap operas.
Oh, what program was she a fan of?
It was more a channel, and that channel she would watch from, God help me, here's dating myself, Ryan's Hope, which was ABC that started at like 12:30 all the way through, and she stopped at General Hospital, but you know, when you're sick, Luke and Laura were the way to go. So I watched that too. And they've all imploded. I still prefer cheese nips over Cheez-Its.
You can marry my husband because the two of you are the only people on the planet who like those burnt, desiccated bullshit horror shows. You should quit this show. I don't want to be associated with you any longer. And I feel, frankly, I deserve some sort of remuneration for this slight.
Does he really like cheese?
Yes.
I don't know anybody.
It's gross.
I don't know anybody else who does.
They're horrible. And the closest proximity you can get, even though we can get them in the stores, because don't forget, we have soda in the South. We don't drink soda in the house. We don't drink soda, period. There is soda down here that is so fucking gross, but people in the South believe it's actual soda. There's a soda that's kind of like Mountain Dew, and it's called Squirt.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
And that's something you want your girlfriend to do, not to
Squirt.
drink.
Lemon, not lemon drop. There's something there. The names are so fucking stupid. It's just, anyway. Yeah. So you can always get like Hydrox. You can get like the pretend shit because they have it here. Hydrox is like not an Oreo.
No, they're faux Oreos. Yeah.
Okay. So you can super get the nips, even the names. Fucking gross. But if you're still so sad and you're in a proper supermarket that doesn't carry this trash, you could buy extra toasty Cheez-Its and char the insides of your taste buds with that horror. They're disgusting. They're so fucking... Have you ever had extra toasty Cheez-Its? They taste like nips. They taste like nips because they taste like burnt sadness. They're gross.
I love cheese nips, and the only place here that sells them and not consistently is the dollar store.
Right. It's because they're waxy and mealy at the same time.
I love them.
Coat your mouth with and like a I don't even know, like a Mrs. Winter's chicken dinner mouth grease.
I don't know what that is. Maybe you need that before you eat your Captain Crunch Berries, because if you coat the top of your mouth before you eat Crunch Berries, maybe it won't scrape up the top of your mouth.
Crunch
You're
Berries
giving me
usually
ideas,
scrape.
but either way, they give me...
Tonight on the menu,
Mom, what's for dinner?
we'll
Fuck
be
off.
serving weed followed by nips.
That's what you probably need to get through that dinner.
And for the entree, Crunch Berries.
Yum. Yeah, I really feel like that reminds me of being homesick. So I was watching this LA's Finest, this ridiculous Netflix, Gabrielle Union and Jessica Elba, whatever her name is. It's not. TV show for Netflix. They're cops. And there are two,
I love that they're so believable. You say they're cops?
They're detectives. I don't know. There are two characters on there that are from One Life to Live, a soap opera that I used to watch. I'm like, thank God you're working again. Like, I'm so happy for you. And did you guys have a reunion?
That's bananas. That's crazy.
They don't usually work after soap operas. That's usually unless they're on the Hallmark Channel.
All right. Well, let's go back to the whole notion of the soap operas. Did you watch them in college when you were alone and could watch it, or away from home and could watch anything you wanted? Did you check in on occasion, or did you really pretty much keep up with it a couple times a week?
I checked in on occasion. I gave up General Hospital because...
marrying your own rapist, and it's too much.
Yeah, it's not I was over that. But there are two of them. All My Children and One Life to Live I watched religiously. And then I went to college because we taped it and I'd watch it later. But then I went to college and I would check in occasionally. I had a college experience, which was fantastic.
Cheese nips.
And then after, I really like cheese nips. I can't get my hands on them. Our supermarkets only carry the its, not the nips.
There's a book that you should read. It's called Why Do Good People Do Bad Things? That's the book that you should read. You could have written it. Cheese nips.
Why do good people eat bad things?
Yes, that's the book. It's by
Rabbi
Rabbi Cheese Nip. Yes.
I'll go get that right now. Dear listener, what do you prefer? Please get my back on the nips. I know Cheez-Its are fine, but...
No, I invite you to unsubscribe. This is not what we want. I'm kidding. I accept all people, but I will judge you.
Thank you so much for listening. I'm going to have a field day carving this one up. We love you guys. Take care. Come back next week for more.
Brilliant observation.
Bye.